Kobe Bryant needs no introduction. He rose to become one of the greatest basketball players of all time, winning 5 NBA championships during his 20-year career with the Los Angeles Lakers. And as his on-court skills improved, so did his leadership skills. In fact, by the back end of his wonderful career, his illustrious career, he was not only an amazing player, but a player people wanted to play with, and perhaps even under. In 2018, at the speech that he gave at the University of Alabama's football team, Kobe gave an inspiring speech, in fact. He entered the locker room and gave the teammates a quick pep talk on the important trait that transformed him from a player to a leader: listening. He said to be an effective leader, you have to be a really good listener. He said, and not to what's being said, but what's not being said. Welcome to JTinTheRaw, show 183. And this is a very special JTinTheRaw as I pay tribute to Kobe Bryant. Not Kobe Bryant, the basketballer, but Kobe Bryant, the leader. The person not born a leader, but one who learned his leadership skills to help his team win. Now, I know there will be critics of how Kobe led the Lakers through his illustrious career. I mean, every leader has critics. It's part of the course of being a leader. But after his death this week, I did some Googling. Because simply the outpouring of grief, the emotion, but also the respect from his peers made me think. And you see, I believe the best people that know you, other than of course your family, are your peers, the people that you work with. And when your peers are impacted so greatly, I want to know why. I want to know why people respected Kobe Bryant to the level to which they did. And so today is a snippet of what I found. And I found 3 really relevant leadership tips that I want to share with you today. So let's start with that speech in Alabama that I began with to the football team. He said, to be an effective leader, you have to be a really good listener. And not to what's being said, but what's not being said. Now, this advice is very similar to something Richard Branson also said, where he said the best advice I ever received was listen more than you talk. Nobody learned by hearing themselves speak. Instead, if you aren't listening, you are missing out. And what a powerful insight there from Richard Branson. Too many times as leaders, we're not fully present to see or hear beyond the spoken word. Just the other day in one of my team meetings, I was only half present. I can't even remember what the other things I was doing, but I really wasn't listening to what my team member was saying. Or perhaps I was listening, but I wasn't hearing. I was doing something else. I was multitasking. I was not being present when an important team member was speaking. The result, I had no idea of the backstory. I had no idea of what was actually being said. I was only hearing something. As a result, I fired from the hip and left a team member upset at not only what I said, but the way I said it. Now, this would not have been an issue if I had been present. As leaders, we don't like auditing our own behavior, but maybe we should. Wouldn't it be interesting this week, and whether you're watching live or on replay, give me a love heart right now if you'd be up for this challenge. Wouldn't it be interesting challenge this week to ask our team, do you feel I am present when we're speaking one-on-one or in our meetings? Wouldn't that be an interesting question to ask? Give me a love heart live or on replay if you think that would be a challenging question to ask our team. Do you feel I am present on a one-on-one meeting or in our team meetings? Interesting concept. Jacob, Tess, good morning. So, will you ask that question this week? Give me a yes in the comments below if you're going to ask this question to people in your team. Do you feel I am present when we are speaking one-on-one or in a meeting? Give me a yes in the comments below, live or on replay, if you're going to ask that question. So thanks, Kobe, for that great reminder. Be present when we're with our team and our greatest asset, our people. Now, in the same speech in Alabama, Kobe highlighted that being a leader is not always about excelling as an individual. It's about being able to bring the team to the next level, which is the second point that I think we should be emphasized, where he says putting others first, not worrying about if you are succeeding, but worrying about whether the team is succeeding. And I'm sure he grew into this. I'm sure he matured with this thinking. He said it was a big transition for him to make. You've got to observe your team because they all have things that they want to achieve as individuals. And as a leader, you've got to be thinking, what are those things? What are those things that our team want to achieve? So, Kobe, I've been banging this drum all month, and that is, as a leader, do you know what each of your team members want to achieve this year? Their goals, and then how you can help them achieve those goals. So thanks, Kobe, for your advice and supporting what I've been saying. Look, quite seriously though, guys, if you want your team to succeed, get to know them. Just as Kobe said, get to know what is important to them. Help them achieve what they want. When you help them achieve what they want, they'll be a loyal team member and they will play hard in the great game of business. When you help them, they'll be loyal and they will play hard. So, point number 2, get to know your team. Point number 1, listen beyond just the words. Look at their actions. Look at how they're saying things. Point 2 is help them achieve what they want to. And finally, I found this quote from Kobe. He said this: I liked challenging people and making them uncomfortable. That's what leads to introspection, and that's what leads to improvement. You could say, I dared people to be their best self. Great quote. Perhaps this is unconventional leadership from Kobe. It's certainly not groundbreaking leadership style. Some of the most outstanding leaders on the planet have been known to challenge their teammates by taking them out of their comfort zone. And the idea is to always keep team members on their toes so as to avoid any sort of complacency. Kobe appeared to have executed this method brilliantly with the Lakers. But he was also honest enough to admit that it is not a one-size-fits-all type of deal. He exerted a lot of effort in order to find the understanding of each of his teammates' mindsets. And he had said this approach never waned, it never wavered. He went on, and let me quote here because this is an important thing what he said. What I did adjust though is how I varied my approach from player to player. So he didn't vary the approach of taking people out of the comfort zone. What he did was varied his approach player to player. I still challenged everyone and made them uncomfortable. I just did it in a way that was tailored to them. To learn what would work and for who, I started doing homework on them. I watched how they behaved. I learned their histories. I listened to their goals. I learned what made them feel secure and where their greatest doubts lay. Once I understood them, I could help bring the best out of them by touching the nerve at the right time. If that is not an inspirational leadership quote, I don't know what is. If that is not a blueprint for developing and understanding your team to get the best from your team, I don't know what is. Let me read it to you one more time because it's a great checklist. He said, to learn what would work and for who. I started doing homework and watched how they behaved. I learned their histories. I listened to what their goals were. I learned what made them feel secure and where their greatest doubts lay. Once I understood them, I could then bring the best out on them. Thank you, Kobe Bryant, for the reminder that what our team want and what our team need is personalized management. Now, before you as a leader simply say, well, I have too many players, this takes too much time, this takes too much energy, or it's just too hard, or you utter some other whinge, let me remind you, your team are the people that will make you and your business, you and your team, succeed or fail. They determine whether you're at the top of the table or you're at the bottom of the table, whether you're pushing for world championship or you're pushing for the wooden spoon. So it's not too hard, ladies and gentlemen. It's not too time consuming if you want to win. This is actually your job. Kobe went on to say, I liked challenging people. I liked making them uncomfortable because that's what introspection is and that's what leads to improvement. You could say I dared people to be their best selves. Whether you know anything about basketball or not, Kobe Bryant has got some great leadership traits for us. Whether you respected him as a player or not, let's look at him as a leader. And the 3 tips that I've shared today are 3 tips that he took into leadership at the Lakers and to 5 championships. I want to challenge you, ladies and gentlemen, to take on one of these 3 over the next week. I want you to think about which of those could be. Is it being present when I'm talking to people? So I'm not actually, not just hearing what they're saying, but I'm seeing what they're saying? Is it the fact that we're going to personalize the message that's important to them personally? Or is it perhaps making them feel a little bit uncomfortable and pushing them and challenging them? Whatever it may be, let's do something. So let's finish the way we finish every JTinTheRaw and its quote of the week. This week is not a quote from me. It is not a quote of the week from me. It is from our host, RIP Kobe Bryant. I'll do whatever it takes to win games, whether it's sitting on the bench waving a towel, handing a cup of water to a teammate, or hitting the game-winning shot. How good is that? That is a great quote for all of us as leaders. It reminds me of Jim Collins's Level 5 Leadership in Good to Great. I'll do whatever it takes to win games, whether it's sitting on a bench, waving a towel, whether it's handing a cup of water to a teammate, or hitting the game-winning shot. Nothing is above or beneath Kobe Bryant as a leader, and for us as leaders in our business, nothing should be above or below our pay scale or the effort that we want to put in. Ladies and gentlemen, if you got any value out of JTinTheRaw, as always, I would be very grateful for you sharing it or tagging someone in the comments below so that they can come back and watch the show on replay. 3 great tips on being a fantastic leader from Kobe Bryant. RIP Kobe Bryant. You impacted people on the court all over the United States, all over the world, but you have also impacted people with your leadership style, your leadership grace, and the tips that I shared with you guys today. Morning, Alan Leach. Good morning, Mick Cunico. You guys will have to come back and watch the show on replay because I will catch you on the flip side.
To be an effective leader, you have to be a really good listener. And not to what's being said, but to what's not being said. You know, you have to be really observant. And you have to, that was a big transition for me. I went from being a scorer and a floor general to now, you know, with Powell and Lamar trying to win other championships, to being a leader. And that meant putting others first.